Hey guys, it is Tara, otherwise known as Candy Mama, and I am back again to tell you guys about another race I just completed. Cruel Jewel 100 is definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. Beautiful but brutal. I've never wanted to quit an ultramarathon before, but about 75 miles in, I was ready to be done. Cruel Jewel runs 106 miles through Chattahoochee National Forest in northern Georgia, and it is also on the Bet McKay Trail, so that's pretty cool. With 33,000 feet in elevation gain, you see plenty of technical and mountainous terrain. The race begins and ends at Vogel State Park, making this an out and back kind of race. So I did a lot of research pre-race that I think benefited a lot. One thing it benefited with was carrying less weight in my pack. It also made the aid station stops a lot quicker. There are 21 aid station opportunities ranging from 2.7 to 7.6 miles. I studied the distance apart of these aid stations, the terrain, how much elevation gain there would be, and then I kind of figured out how many hours it would take me to complete that section. So essentially I was able to pre-package foods for each aid station, which made it quick for my mom to get those bags out and reload my pack or preload a pack for me, and then I could just get that pack and get on the trail. I also did a lot of work to dial in my nutrition that was easy on my stomach and that was easy to digest. I tested out Spring Energy and Tailwind before the race in training runs, and I really liked it. It really agreed with my stomach. Usually with goos, it made me sick halfway through the race, and I would have to switch to something solid or just switch to something different. I didn't have that problem with Spring Energy. I could eat it throughout. The morning of the race, I got my lady times and was having pretty bad cramps the first thing in the morning. I've never raced with my period before, and I didn't really know what that would look like. I was honestly nervous, but just took it in stride. When we got to Vogel State Park, race packet pickup was pretty easy. They did need a government ID for you to actually pick up your packet, which I liked. It was easy and it was secure. With 177 men and 27 women racing the Cruel Jewel 100, the parking lot was starting to fill up with, racers, spectators, volunteers, and crew. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, Muff, yeah, up. Go, baby, go!
Around 10 miles in, it's a tough course. I fell all dirty behind the first place woman. Feeling good, keeping up with my nutrition and my pace. If anything, it's a walk in the woods. The first 20 miles was pretty difficult but doable because I was so fresh. I didn't bring trekking poles that first 20 miles, but I wish I did because there was 6,000 feet in elevation gain along Duncan Ridge Trail, otherwise known as the Dragon Spine. Skinnea Gap was the first aid station where I was able to see my crew, and I was able to switch from a hydration pack, to a lighter hydration belt for the next 5-mile section. I also grabbed trekking poles, but unfortunately one had broke, and so I just took one. At the next aid station, being Will Scott Gap, there was another quick exchange for another 5-ish miles to Old Dial Road, and by this time it was about 35 miles in. Luckily though, my grandma did have one of her walking poles in the back of her car, so I was able to use that in addition to the one trekking pole that I had for ultra running. Old Dial Aid Station was another quick exchange. I was able to get my vest and any necessary items that I needed for a 19-mile section without my crew, otherwise known as my mom. My mom was my only crew member, which she did amazingly. In between Old Dial Road Aid Station and Stanley Aid Station, there was this long road section that I've done before on the Bet McKay Trail, so that was really familiar. We were able to go over this really neat bridge. After Stanley Aid Station, it was time to enter back into the woods, and by this time it was getting dark. But it was a really quick section. It went a lot downhill, and then we got to Deep Gap Aid Station and started the Flat Creek Trail loop. Since the entire race is an out and back, that's why you do it twice. But the first time you do have to do it counterclockwise. After the Flat Creek loop, there was a very cruisy road section down to Camp Morganton. Saw my mom there and ate some applesauce and a banana and just confirmed that I was there to the volunteers. And I was off to do the road section back again because this is the point where we turned around and went back the way we came. As I'm running on the road from Camp Morganton to do another Flat Creek loop, I throw up all my food. That is the first time I throw up, and that was not fun. It was very violent, but I just continued. So got off the road, thankfully, and did another loop of Flat Creek, which was nice and cruisy. And you think at this point we would be back on our way to Vogel State Park. Not true. So Cruel Jewel is very cruel, and they add 6 miles onto an already 100-mile race. They didn't have to, but they decided to. So there is this cutoff that you do. Leave Flat Creek and you go up the hill, and then they have you, instead of going back to Vogel State Park, you take a right to Weaver Creek Trail, and you descend down to this aid station, and then you have to go all the way back up. So that is 3 miles down and 3 miles back up. Back up, it was about 1,500 feet of climbing. I don't know why they have that, but it is Cruel Jewel. I wasn't far behind the first place woman, Liz, who I was, around for about 70 miles, but at this point she did start breaking away. It was another easy couple miles to Stanley aid station, and I was able to do that really easy road section on the Bent McKay trail. And I was able to run for most of it going down, which was good. But as soon as I entered back into the woods, I threw up again. So that's the second time I threw up. By this time, morning was coming, and I was starting to feel a little weak from throwing up twice. If you get a little queasy, skip this part a little bit, but I threw up a couple times in that one segment of throwing up. And then I got back into the woods and threw up a couple more times. So at this point, I was feeling a little weak. I got to Old Dial Road aid station quickly and just exchanged everything, entered into the woods, and threw up again. And at this point, I was starting to think about quitting. I was nervous about not getting enough calories. I was nervous about throwing up more. I just sat on the side of the trail and felt bad for myself. I was saying I was going to quit because I was throwing up and I was uncomfortable. And also, I had watched Courtney Dauwalter and Sabrina Stanley. They're both professional ultra runners, and I watched videos of them talking about how they DNF'd, and I made up in my mind that that was fine if I DNF'd during this race. But then I got up and I had to make it back to the aid station if I was going, the next aid station, if I was going to quit. And that's when I did this video.
I think that's it, guys. I can't stop throwing up. I think it's time to be done. I'm gonna finish up these last 3.5 miles. I just feel super weak. I wanted to do this really bad. It's okay, I'm fine. I'm fine, really. I don't think this is my race. It's okay. I feel fine doing that. I think next year I just need to work at this next year, make this my project, because I don't feel too well. Okay. Alright, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry I couldn't finish for y'all. Okay. I'm gonna get off the phone.
So obviously you can tell I'm feeling pretty bad for myself. And then out of nowhere, I just felt like running. And then I started running and I said to myself, nope, I've already made up my mind. I'm gonna quit, stop running. So I started walking again. But then again, kind of was urged to run out of nowhere. So I started running, getting faster and faster and faster. And I started sprinting down the trail. Before I knew it, I was back at Will Scott Aid Station where my mom met me again. She sounded really happy to see me because that did take me a really, really long time to get through. I think double as long as it should have took me.
Oh, I'm still going. I got there and I was like, I don't want to quit yet. Though I'm tired, though I still feel sick, I am finishing this dang race. This dang race. The last 20 miles are the hardest, so preparing mentally for that, but I'll have a pacer. So that's great. Hunter's my pacer. Still worn out, but I can do this.
So at this point I saw Jack, his pacer Graham was with him, and I caught up to them, and I felt really encouraged because, you know, I had been in this pit of despair and I caught up to this guy I'd been running with in the beginning. So that was really encouraging. I said hi to Jack, and we ended up, you know, being around each other for up until around the last 6 miles. Me, Jack, and Graham got to Skinea Gap and, you know, got some things in my vest because this next section was going to be 20 miles without my crew. Aid station, yes, but my mom wouldn't be able to meet me. I wasn't looking forward to this section. This was, again, the Dragon Spine, so 6,000 feet in elevation gain in this section, and this was likely to be the hardest part of the race. Also at Skinea Gap, I was supposed to pick up my pacer, Hunter. Hunter, you guys might know Hunter, but he set the FKT on the Bent McKay Trail. He's also paced me in another 100 miler, and he's a good friend. He was coming out to support and pace me, but unfortunately he got a flat tire and he wasn't able to be there to catch me. But it ended up just being fine. I, you know, just took it with stride, like I had done my lady times that morning, like I had done with that trekking pole that broke, and like I had done with that section where I couldn't stop throwing up. I took it with stride and just went on my way. So honestly, that last 20 miles just took forever. The sun was coming out, it was so hot, and I was so done with it. I was able to push it to the last aid station before the end. There I got some sugar, I got some candy, got some real fresh cold water, and I was well on my way for the last mountain. This guy passed me who was running, I believe his name was Sean, but Sean passed me, he was running. I hadn't seen him at all in the race before, but he passed me and he was running, and so I was like, I'm gonna run with him. So we ended up running all the way down this mountain. Finally, we got to the road, and I was really encouraged to start like really picking up the pace, because at this point we only had a mile left. So I run through Vogel State Park and I see the finish line.
Yay! Yay, yay, yay!
Take a moment, what your thoughts, and accept what you I never thought this was a crushed it. So. Well, I did it. I ran 106 miles in the Georgia mountains. Vogel 100. I'm secluded here because I thought I was going to throw up, so I have this bucket. I'm glad I did it, but that was the hardest thing I've ever done.
I finished 28:06. I am 8th overall and 2nd woman. After the race, I barely felt sick. I wasn't really that sore. I could walk around still a little bit, which I was really proud of, because if you guys heard about Umstead, you know that I threw up, had a lot of digestion issues. So I was really proud of my progress with the nutrition. Overall, this was a super tough race, but I was really proud of myself for not DNFing. Essentially, that means did not finish. And I didn't accept defeat. The aid stations were supplied and manned well. The race directors were really organized. I really appreciate all the work they did in putting this race together. They had some neat prizes and merch. So you also get a hat, of course, the belt buckle here. And I got a 2nd place women's canvas. I do not recommend this race for beginners unless you are used to climbing a lot of mountains and used to, you know, around 33,000 feet in elevation gain, over 106 miles. I feel like I'm learning a lot in this sport. My hope is to become a little more competitive. That's all I have about Cruel Jewel. I know that was quick and to the point, but I did want to get this video out quickly after the race. A little housekeeping. Hello to all of my new subscribers. As you guys know, one of my goals was to get 10,000 subscribers. At this point, when I'm recording this, which is May 17th, I have 13,573 subscribers. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I really didn't think I would get to this point this fast. I put a lot of time, a lot of effort into recording, editing, publishing, posting. It's a one-woman job. It is just me, just Tara Dower here doing everything. So I appreciate everyone who has joined so far. With more people watching the videos comes criticism, but one gripe that a lot of people have are my nose piercings. So in honor of the people who Don't like my nose piercing? I got another one here. I got a little star. So right now I have 1, 2, and 3 nose piercings. So thank you to all of y'all who, encouraged me to get this last one. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I have some fun things coming up for the summer. I will be trying to set out again for an FKT on the Bet McKay Trail this summer. I will be finishing up the John Muir Trail and also doing more van adventures. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I do appreciate it. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on those adventures. If you have watched the end, please comment a crown emoji to let me know that you have watched the end. The crown emoji also commemorates all the people who finished the 2022 Cruel Jewel 100-mile race. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and happy hiking.